Season 1 of Prison Break released over 20 years ago, but as of very recently, the show has become very, very popular again. And I'll be honest, Prison Break is my favourite show of all time. Back in lockdown 2020, I watched it for the first time, and that was an experience that I will never forget. But today we're talking about reasons why Prison Break is so popular again, and it's making it feel like it just came out. It's hard to believe that it did release over 20 years ago. Like what? I was literally like 4 years old or 3 years old when season 1 dropped, which is just mad. And the first reason is TikTok. Now, TikTok has had a big effect in the TV and movie world over the past few years. It all started when Breaking Bad really blew up on TikTok back in 2022. And everyone got into Breaking Bad if they weren't already into it beforehand. And in the summer of 2024, that's when I noticed Prison Break really taking over TikTok. Even if I wasn't watching it, I would just see edits all the time on my For You page. And it actually did make me rewatch Prison Break in the summer of last year. And look, I am on TikTok right now. I'm going to scroll, and it won't even take long until I find a Prison Break edit. Ready? One scroll. Two scrolls! Two scrolls! Ever since the summer, I've been seeing so many edits. Still. For months. Look at this. We got Teabag.
But, what's that smell? It smells a little like conspiracy.
Why don't you transfer us all someplace cool?
See what I mean? Like, and this got 62k likes. Everyone's talking about Prison Break. Everyone's loving it. And the next reason why Prison Break is definitely popular again is the main man himself, Michael Scofield, who is played by Wentworth Miller. On TikTok especially, I'm seeing a lot of edits of him, specifically because, I mean, he is the main character, and he's such a likable character, and a very interesting character. I mean, on one hand, you've got all the girls that just fancy him, so that could have been a reason why a lot of people just started watching Prison Break, because they fancy him. But you also have the other hand, where people are intrigued by his story, by his character. He is putting himself in prison to break his brother out. Who doesn't want to watch that? Another big help in making Prison Break so popular again was the return to Netflix. So I watched Prison Break on Netflix back in 2020, but they actually removed Prison Break from Netflix for a long time. But last summer, they brought it back, so I guess that's when people started watching it. The TikTok edits started flying in, and then Prison Break was in the top 10 shows in the UK for such a long time. I'm sure it was in the top 10 shows in the US as well. So once again, it really made Prison Break feel like it just came out, since it just dropped on Netflix again. But for a lot of people, it's like it just was released, you know what I mean? Another reason is the length of the series as a whole. Now, these days, TV shows do not make shows like Prison Break, like Breaking Bad, you know, where you're getting 5 seasons, like 20 episodes per season. We got robbed in season 3 of 20 or so episodes because there was a writer's strike, so season 3 was cut in half. So Prison Break is a very bingeable TV show, a lot of episodes per season, and it's not like there's filler episodes, especially in season 1. At the end of every episode in season 1, there is a cliffhanger, which is gonna really test you. You know, it's probably a school night, a work night, and you get to the end of an episode, there's a big cliffhanger, and that next episode button is right there. A lot of people say that Prison Break season 1 is the best first season in television history. I would agree, and it was hard to slow down my first time watching season 1 because I wanted to savor it, because I knew that I was watching something magical. But the fact that it was just so addicting made me get through it pretty quickly. But again, with TV shows these days, like look at Squid Game, you know, we had to wait 3 years for season 2 of Squid Game, which only has 7 episodes. I mean, the quality is insane, it's very well done, but back in the day, I don't know, like, people that were making TV shows were just on something different, because they were making longer seasons, but still very high quality in terms of the story, the writing, the characters. It was just incredible. And yes, some people could say that Prison Break did fall off, especially going into season 4. That's when it becomes a little bit different, and some could say a little bit more, you know, unrealistic, and it's just like an action TV show. It's different. But at the very least for me, Prison Break did season 1 to perfection, season 2 to perfection, which both had 20 something episodes each. I mean, them first 2 seasons, that was just like, they are masterpiece seasons. Season 3 is very, very good, but very short. Season 4 is, for me, okay, and season 5 is good, but also pretty short. And it's also worth mentioning that the actors who play Sarah and Paul Kellerman do actually have a podcast together, and they go over the Prison Break episodes, like reacting to them and talking about them, reviewing them. And it just feels like, once again, Prison Break just happened. Like, they just finished doing season 1, so you can listen to them, you know, talk about season 1 of Prison Break from their experience. Obviously they were in the show, so that's very interesting. And they're doing season 2 now, just, you know, covering each episode of season 2. So I do listen to their podcast, and it once again makes me feel that Prison Break just came out. Like, it doesn't seem like it came out 20 years ago. And I always think, like, I kind of feel bad for the people who did watch it when it first came out, because I'm not going to spoil too much, right? But the end of season 1 is such a massive cliffhanger, and people would have had to wait over a year for season 2 to drop to see what happened after the escape, which I could not do. I was lucky to go straight from the end of season 1 to the start of season 2. And my last reason as to why I think Prison Break is so popular again is because of the characters. Now, since there's a lot of hype around Prison Break, people would have started tuning in, but I'm sure they would have been gripped by a lot of the characters and their stories. Look at the Fox River 8, for example. We're seeing 8 prisoners who we automatically should assume that are just bad people, but a lot of them are definitely misunderstood, like Teabag. You know, he's a lovely bloke. He really is. Very misunderstood. No, obviously not Teabag, but Teabag is one of the best villains I've seen in television history, and he's also a reason why people would be addicted to Prison Break, seeing where his story goes. But you've got C-Note, who was set up by the military and was sent to prison. He was lying to his wife, saying that he was out there fighting for his country, he was in the military still, when in reality he was in prison. You've got Sucre, who was just head over heels over this girl, Mary Cruz, who ended up robbing a store just to try and get something to impress her. You've got David Tweener Apolskis, who stole a baseball card that just so happened to be a very rare card that was worth, I think, a few $100,000. So he got slapped for grand larceny. You've got John Abruzzi, who's a very interesting character because he's very scary. He's a mob boss that Michael does need to get on his side, so that's an interesting dynamic between them two. John Abruzzi's very dangerous, but Michael needs him, so they kind of form, you know, an alliance of some kind. But anyways, that is it for my reasonings as to why Prison Break is so popular again. I might actually go and rewatch it for, I think, the 3rd time, because it is just that good. But let me know in the comments what you think of Prison Break, and if you have any other reasons as to why it became so popular again in 2024 and 2025 as well. But that's it, so hopefully you've enjoyed. Drop a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.